Larry Szczepanski. What if? What if? Larry Szczepanski.
Have you ever grown something from a seed? Perhaps fruits, vegetables, or flowers? I'm amazed a tiny little seed, when planted and nurtured, has the ability to blossom into something amazing and sometimes even unexpected. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and friends, for the next several minutes, I'd like you to think of everyone you have ever met as a seed. Your family, your friends, your acquaintances, those you've known for a long time, to those you've known for a moment in time. Over the course of our life, we gather many seeds, many friends, many acquaintances. And in that moment, we immediately judge and we criticize. We decide whether or not this seed has value, if it has purpose. And if it does, we plant it. If it doesn't, we discard it. Of the seeds we do so, many grow and reach our expectations. Some even exceed them. But then there are those others. Well, they never seem to measure up. They may even disappoint us. And those are the seedlings that get plucked from our garden and discarded. What if, instead of plucking those underdeveloped seedlings, what if we nurtured them instead and helped them grow to reach their full potential? How much better could our lives be? What if, instead of discarding all of those seeds in whose value we didn't see, what if we planted them and allowed them to blossom? How much different could our lives be? What if, instead of judging and criticizing each other, we seek to understand one another and we help one another grow and reach our full potentials? How much better could this world be? Judging and criticizing is part of normal life. Whether you realize it or not, I'm being judged and criticized as I speak, and you know who you are. Judging and criticizing is normal. However, deciding in a moment whether or not this person, this seed has value, whether they have purpose, or whether they should be discarded is not fair to anyone. What if we took the time to understand all of their experiences that brought them to this moment in time? Do you think we might come away with a different perspective? One of the very first seeds in my garden was that of my father. And his seed grew into a thorny rose bush. And sadly, his bush had more thorns than blooms. Don't get me wrong, I loved my father, but I hated his behavior. Every day he would arrive home from work, sit on his throne, and order, "Get me a beer." We would comply because we didn't know if tonight was the night he was going to pass out or become violent. On more than one occasion, I cried myself to sleep thinking, is there a way of fixing him? And if not, maybe I need to find a way of plucking him from my garden and ending this pain. Sadly, one day my father took ill. He stopped drinking, and he begged for our forgiveness. We forgave him, but I never understood why. Why would a man who professed to love his family so deeply treat us so horribly? That was the very question I asked him many years later. Son, a person will either run away from or they will imitate what they know. My father, your grandfather, a man you never met, he was a mean, abusive alcoholic, and he would beat me almost every day, and I promised myself I would never grow up to be like him. And sadly, I had, and I'm sorry. My only ask is that you learn from my mistakes and you do better. In that moment, I gained understanding. I now knew why. And his why didn't mean what he did was right. It just meant that now we had fertile soil from which we could start to grow together and heal. And on that day, my father's thorns dried up and they fell away. His bush began to blossom, and for the remainder of his life, my father and I had the most amazing relationship. Sadly, my father passed away in 1999. But I often ask myself, what if I asked him that question so many years earlier? Could I have had more time with this wonderful man? My friends, someone is going to hurt you, and you may never know why. You may very well hurt someone else, and they may never know why. But instead of judging and criticizing in that moment, what if you take the time to understand and seek the why? Is it possible you may come away with a new perspective and be able to nurture this person, and you both can grow from that experience? In the words of my father, my only ask is that you learn from our mistakes and you do better. The next time you find yourself judging or criticizing someone, before you pluck them from your garden and discard them, stop. Seek the why. Ask those difficult questions. And maybe one day, just like me, you will be amazed at what can blossom.
We have silence until the judges have